Well, I got more projects than I can shake a stick at. Well, I hope everybody's doing well. On your left side, I've got my climbing roses, which are beautiful. They're getting ready to bloom. And on the other side, my climbing roses are more like sprawling roses. They don't look very happy. Climbing roses are a great way to make a vertical impact in the garden, but the problem is they're gonna sprawl unless you trellis them up. Let's give these roses an opportunity to really show off their beauty this year. We're gonna put them up on a trellis, much like I did on the other side. I'm excited to see how it's gonna turn out. I've already prepped the posts where I measured down, put a mark on the wood, and erased it with a chainsaw. Now these notches don't go very deep. They're just deep enough to where I can make a few wraps, and we're not gonna slide anywhere. If we flip the post over, we can see that I made a mark where my depth is, so I'm gonna drive this post to that depth. We're gonna have uniform spacing on the trellis wires. I even sharpened up the tip with the chainsaw, that way I can drive them a little bit easier. There's quite a few different ways that you can string this up. I've got fencing wire that I could use. I've got this paracord, but this paracord's been promised to another project. It's a big trellis project that I'll be working on later on today, so we won't be using that. Oh, there goes the owl. Bye-bye, owl. We'll go with a little jute twine to get this strung today. It's only rated at 9 pounds, but it'll get us sorted on a project like this. Eventually, the climbing rose canes are gonna form their own trellis. We're just training them to do what we want. I got the first post and the last post set. Tie my knot on the top string. I'm gonna stretch this all the way out to the first one. Just wrap this quite a few times. Don't wanna tie it in a knot because that's not where it's gonna live. Now that we've got a straight line, we're just gonna measure out 7 feet. I would have preferred 6, but I didn't have enough materials. So we'll just go with every 7 feet. We'll make sure that we're not driving the post into a root ball and make adjustments as needed. So in this instance, I'm at about 6.5 feet. Yeah, so that happened. We'll just use zip ties and a T-post. Can't let stuff like this slow you down. Guess we'll go laces in on this one, really give Ray Finkel something to cuss about. Laces out. There we go. Get it as square as you think you can get it. Just go for it. And this project's taken a lot of patience, but we finally got to the spot where we get to string this thing. We've got the original knot on post number 1. We're just gonna go down the row, give it a triple wrap, and go to the next pole, holding taut the entire time. And when we get this all sorted and satisfactory, everybody gets either a 10-10-10 or a triple 16. This is the post that wanted to be crooked. Not sure why it had its heart set on that, but I'll allow it. Once you get to the other side, give it a snip, throw your favorite knot in there. Since we're down here already, we'll go ahead and start our next row. On this row, we're gonna go the opposite direction. That way there's a little bit of stagger between the back of the post and the front of the post. You can easily double this up if you don't think this 9-pound jute's gonna do the trick for you. You would just wrap the opposite direction on the same level, going the other way, and then you got kind of a sandwich effect. Know that teas are in our future, and it's something that I get very excited about. Me and my daughter like making our potions for the plants. That got me. We're not done yet, but I am highly motivated because the hawks have been dive bombing me and showing a particular interest in this area. And the remaining chore is just to weave it into the trellis while cutting out the dead wood, or breaking it off in some cases. Sometimes it might be easier to do that. Looks like we're shaping up to have a good result. Let me get this all woven onto the trellis. Then in the morning, maybe we'll have some more blooms. Who knows? I'm curious about everything at this point. Let me get this sorted so we can see how it turned out. We're gonna inspect as we go. We're gonna cut out any of the dead wood, anything that looks damaged, broken, and just, you know, just something that's a little bit off. Maybe you got a little discoloration. While we weave this onto the trellis, we need to pay particular attention to airflow. We don't want to create an environment that's conducive to fungi or even insects. If insects will call almost anywhere home, and if you're making an environment that essentially makes a house for them that's safe for them to lay eggs, yeah, you're inviting problems. Over the course of time, the jute's naturally going to stretch out, whether it's due to the weather or due to just the load that it's carrying, or naturally it stretches out. Here's an easy way to fix the midspan. You're only going to have to do this to every other pole. And we're using just simple little wood screws. You're going to pull it taut and wrap it around as many times as you can. Now that the initial stretch is over, I doubt it if I'm gonna have to come back through here and tighten it up, but I have the means to do it if I need to. You can just give it a wrap around the screw once or twice. It'll pull the tension back in and help support those plants. Yeah, I'd say this project went pretty well. Everybody's up and elevated and happy. We've got a whole bunch of blooms, which is kind of why I sat on this footage. I wanted you to see the blooms. Let's take a look.